saw the stakes popping up on our screens. I'm just going to have a quick look to make sure I get them correct. We have Encoy locking themselves in playoffs if they win, and if SK win, Rogue and BDS being fully eliminated from the playoff contention. It's going to be a close one.
Yeah.
It's going to be a close one for our top 6. I was wondering coming into this weekend, I think there was a possibility it could have all been decided by today. We could have had our top 6 already locked. Things haven't gone that way, which is quite nice to see.
Yeah.
Let's see if we have a bit of a closer affair in this series.
I do think though, like, it is still rough for SK, because like obviously getting the win here does put them up onto that 3-4 score line, but you still have like G2 to play and Vitality to play, right? So it's not exactly like it gets any easier for you over the course of next week either. So a huge amount of work still for SK to put in, whereas Movistar KOI, if you can just get one more across the line, they're in a fantastic spot. But we are into draft with Sejuani and Barris already gone. Not too many surprises thus far.
Not too many surprises at all. I wonder if we'll see the Maokai being banned, the Yone as well, obviously a possibility. We'll have to go through. I doubt we'll see anything too inventive like the Mel that we saw in the previous series.
No, I think it'll be kind of standard. Like, I like getting Bukata off of the Sejuani. I think it's been his best champion by a good margin. So just making him a little bit more uncomfortable. Also just getting rid of the Jace from Gen X. Gen X very much a carry top laner. I thought SK wouldn't ban the Void, to be honest. I thought that'd be something they were eyeing up for themselves. But especially since Elyoya, I think has looked better on when he can go for these earlier skirmishing junglers like the Zhao.
I think Elyoya loves to have some of that early impetus. Really about pushing lanes as well for MKOI. If they can get Elyoya into a position where he can invade the enemy jungle, where he can take fights on his own terms, he can really shine. Poppy banned away by MKOI, so they're looking to play probably a few champions with dashes. I wonder if we'll see Alvaro back on that Rakan as well.
Yeah, curious to see what the... Okay, so Yone, so respect given to Jojo, but we'll have to see what the first pick is going to be. Taliyah has been rising up in priority as that first pick, and looks like that'll continue.
Yeah, Taliyah and then Azir picked into it is kind of a handshake that's been happening a lot here in the LEC. I was thinking about possibly a Rumble as well, but with the Yone banned out, you only really have the Tristana as AD mid. So Taliyah just going to be locked for Jojo.
I am curious though, because Reeker has kind of gone towards a couple of the melee champions like the Silas, and even having some of the unorthodox picks like the Morky. But with the Pantheon hovered here, potentially locked in, I think we will see some sort of AP mid laner. So could be the Azir, also Hui, like we've seen Caps kind of fish for. Reeker brought out a little bit as well, but going to go straight towards his Ryze.
Okay.
So this was kind of the pick he was known for a lot in EMEA Masters.
Yeah.
So seeing what he can do now on the LEC stage.
Yeah, haven't seen him bring it out so far here in spring, but something, as you say, that he has a history on, at least throughout the years. MKOI looking for that skirmishing jungler in the form of Xin Zhao. The ability to seismic shove someone back, lock them up with the 3 Talon Strike. It's so easy to get that CC chain going. It makes a lot of sense.
It's also just the skirmish power that you were talking about, like that early, hey, we got some push-in waves, let's go and invade, let's try and get in and fight, and having Taliyah who could very quickly join in those fights with the Weaver's Maul just makes a lot of sense, right? It's very much a composition that Movistar KOI like to tend towards. And also the Rumble for Myrwn, which when you look back over even last year, you wouldn't have thought, oh yeah, this is really a Myrwn champ, but it has actually been one of the champions he's most impressed me on.
Yeah, he's been really good on it, and I think Rumble just sits in a very strong spot in the meta right now, especially when you don't counter-pick top lanes. So MKOI now have the opportunity to ban out a couple of top laners to make that Rumble's laning phase even more oppressive. Ezreal is the pick for Kedwi, known as one of the best Ezreals on the server on his day. So we've seen it banned out against SK a couple of times. We've seen Kedwi pick it up a couple of times as well. As you say, yeah, 100% win rate in those 2 games.
Yep. And I'm not fully surprised to see it brought out. The only thing I'm curious now for SK is like if they're just going to go towards what we've seen a little bit in other regions is just this like Gwen Rumble trade, because obviously with the nerfs towards Gwen, it was a lot of her armor in lane was taken away, but she's still decent in towards the Rumble, and yeah, there it is, it's just getting banned away. So Movistar KOI not letting Gen X get it, so these kind of things I imagine are going to be up next on the plate, unless you want to just go for something like a Sion and say, I'm going to be hands off, I'm just going to absorb that pressure in the lane and just play for these later game team fights.
It's always a possibility you just go for something a little bit tanky. Gen X has looked towards the Vladimir as well, the Akali if you want to try and trade into the Rumble, but don't really want to be melee range of him for too long. There's the Aatrox, so trying to out-sustain the Rumble's damage in that top lane. MKOI now have to lock in their AD carry and their support. It's blind support, Xayah, Rakan alongside this for Alvaro would make a lot of sense. This is most played this split alongside Rahel, and it looks like that is where MKOI are going to land.
Yeah, nothing too crazy. It just gives you a lot, like Alvaro, as you say, has been fantastic on it, and it sets up again for great skirmishing power, a lot of setup based off of Elyoya kind of being that front line, and then Alvaro to skirt past you, try and set up. So curious to see what the angle is going to be. This would be funky.
Annie support, okay.
So is it Ryze top lane? Or is this?
It's Ryze mid, Aatrox top,
okay,
Annie support. So Annie.
Yes.
Heavily nerfed through some power reallocation a couple of patches ago. They took a lot of power out of Tibbers and tried to put it back into the rest of her kit. The problem was, Tibbers was her power for a lot of the game. Remember, like you just put Tibbers down in the mid lane and push out. So on 25.09, they then redistributed her power across some of her spells, making her a little bit stronger, at least in terms of laning and using those spells. I'm very interested to see how this works, because it is a long-known counter to Rakan. Basically, you stack up your passive. When he jumps in, you just Q him, and the stun does, his knockup doesn't land, right? So it becomes very easy to block him from getting into the lane. Also gives you good wave push with the Tibbers later on if you want it.
Yeah, I think the only real issue that I see is that it does mean that then you're heavily reliant on like a Flash Tibbers engage to try and start off a fight, or Bukada trying to get some sort of setup with the Pantheon to start things off. So it does make things a little bit more difficult for you. Especially kind of, you do have some poke that can come through from the Movistar KOI side. So definitely a composition in SK that needs to get rolling if it's not just going to be rolled over.
Just having a look at the exact changes. Base damages increased on Disintegrate and Incinerate, the Q and the W. So supports love base damage, right? That is where they thrive. We'll see if SK bringing out something a little bit loopy from Loopy here changes the state of their run to playoffs. Only this series and a couple more left for them. They play MKOI today, G2, and then Vitality next week in Paris. For MKOI, one last game against Rogue to round out the split after this. A win here will secure them that playoff spot. Not as high up as they would have liked, but still a solid performance, at least over the last few weeks from MKOI.
Yeah, it kind of feels like they've got their footing a little bit more. Especially on how they want to try and play the mid game. I've been much more impressed with their patience in a lot of those situations where, in even like looking at, say, season finals last year, they would have overextended for a kill and kind of thrown the whole game away. But we're seeing them have a better understanding of how far they can poke and prod before they actually fully commit to something. But SK, at least committing to a little bit of a bot side invade. Ward will be spotted out though, so we'll have to see how Elyoya wants to try and move around. That actually cleared out immediately though.
Yeah, they'll be able to take that down with the oracles on Alvaro, so they get themselves a little bit of a gold lead down towards that bottom side. Last time we saw Annie support, by the way, 2023 Spring Playoffs. It was Hylissang. Who else who brought it out? Loopy has played it once before in his career, back in 2023 as well. Didn't go too well for him. He lost in the LCK CL, that's the Challengers League over in Korea. But had a little bit more time to practice it since then.
Just a little bit, you know, of course.
Yeah,
I mean, you can already see just holding on towards that stun, making it very difficult for Alvaro and Supa to really try and trade into him, because at any point he can unleash us.
Gleaming Crow from Alvaro. Going to try and heal up here, but one of the benefits of Annie is she has such a good auto attack range, right? It's really long for a support, so her ability just to harass down this Rakan, who is pseudo melee.
It's also funny because this is the like nerfed version of where she was. Because if you think back to like Whites and Tabe when they were playing it back in like 2014 or whatever it was, her attack range, or 2013, her attack range was way longer than it was. So the fact you still have this obnoxious range just kind of tells you how far she's.
Yeah, I think it was 25 range further than it is right now. So it was 650 originally, which is just massive, and now it's down to 625. But a little bit of harass coming out from Loopy down towards that bottom side will force Alvaro to go through all of his potions early doors. You can see him healing up there. None left in that lane, so we'll just want to survive through the laning phase. As you say, though, a little bit of a weakness for SK is their lack of pure initiation, right? You have Flash Rune Prison, you have Flash Stun from the Pantheon, you have a Flash Tibbers, right? Everything is quite reliant on the Flash. Elyoya coming down here, maybe trying to burn Loopy's Flash. Heal out early. KOI should just be able to Arcane Shift across the wall. He does so. And SK get out burning only a single summoner. Alvaro actually burning his heal as well to try and get that chase down.
Yeah, I was trying to keep my eyes on Elyoya because he at least procced 2 of the 3 talent strike onto Kadui, so I wasn't sure if he was just going to go flash engage immediately onto Loopy and try and get that knock up, but didn't want to try and commit. But already, I like the pressure down here because one of the things about Annie is, hey, yeah, she's very obnoxious to try and deal with in lane. But she's so squishy, especially when if she is level 2 and doesn't have access to that shield. So I like the attempt from Elyoya. Unfortunately, just couldn't make it happen.
At the moment, relatively even between the two teams. You see Elyoya, obviously, because he went for that gank, is a little bit slower through his camp. Should be able to get his Razor Beaks before Bukada steals them away. Bukada looking towards the big Razor there, was unable to take it. Elyoya will want to try and path up towards this topside scuttle as Bukada's making his way across there.
He needs to try and get some help though from Myrwn if he wants to try and hold on to this scuttle. You can see TP at least a little early from Jojopyun, so should be able to force this wave and help out. Is Elyoya going to check this, I imagine?
Yep, when it becomes lightning, he dashes in, Aegis Assault out from Bukada. He can just walk away. Really, Elyoya just messing with the tempo of the enemy jungler there. Wasn't a kill threat at all.
Yeah, the problem though is that his Krugs are still up on the bottom side, so we'll obviously clear this, I imagine, reset, and then we'll have to still go up towards his top side and then work his way back down as those camps start to cycle. But
actually, might skip the reset.
Respawn, actually,
yeah, just go straight to the gromp and then work his way down.
Yeah. And then we'll be able to come back into that bottom side. So it'll actually be Elyoya who's a little bit late. So I think for Bukada, if I'm him, now is my time to try and get a little bit active on the map. When I know Elyoya, more than likely in the next 30 seconds, we'll be going back to reset.
Yeah, I think you'd be super tempted to go up towards the top side, right?
Yeah.
Myrwn is pushing this wave in. He does have good vision control, but you know if Elyoya has stayed in his jungle, he's going to be pathing down towards bot or looking for that reset after doing these wolves. For the moment, Myrwn has a slight lead in that top lane, about 16 CS in fact ahead. 300 gold lead for him. Bukada's on his Krugs. Janax will land the chains, doesn't land the Q3 though, and Myrwn just flame spitters the way. Ping's coming out. Looks like Bukada isn't going to go for a topside fight.
It may be looking at the fact that Jojopyun has hit 6 and a push in mid. They were a little nervous of, as you can see, Jojo just kind of leaning top in case some sort of gank happened and being able to turn around, especially with how low Janax is. So looks like they will just start to move back down towards this bottom side and looking at a potential dragon. But at the moment, no real movement, which is kind of the time that we're looking at here for, you know, swapping those bot sides to the top lane.
Yeah, usually 5.5, 6.5 minutes is where you're going for. Those grubs spawning in at 8. You can see top left corner, 2 minutes before they do arrive. Might just be the bot lanes playing around trying to get the waves in. Arcane Shift forward here from Kedwi. Has to flash away with Elyoya coming around the corner. Uses the barrier as well. Kedwi burning both of his summoners as Drake has been begun by Bukada. Reeker here first means that SK should be able to secure the dragon without too much contest.
Yeah, so they're just going to back away. Elyoya got to make sure that they have to run right the way away. But yeah, I think for Bukada, it's just trying to stay on this bottom side in case anything funky happens at the moment, because you can still see where Loopy and Kadui are positioned with no. So I wasn't sure with no summoner spells if Elyoya might try and make something happen on that bottom side, but looks like instead he just wants to try and clear up towards the top half.
Yeah, just try and get himself back on an even kill with Bukada, who was able to have that slightly quicker first clear. Also, pathing up towards top when there's a minute on the grubs makes a lot of sense. There's also a red buff about to spawn that they can look to try and invade. You can see Jojo and Elyoya teaming up here to step in towards this red side jungle. Jojo with the early wave pushes in mid. Reeker will get to a point where he clears the wave really quickly with the spell flux, but isn't there yet on the Ryze.
But this is what we were talking about from Movistar KOI. This is how they like to play. Trying to get these invades off, working off of pressure on the lanes. And at the moment, Jojopyun's been doing a good job of controlling this Ryze and not allowing him really access to cover for anything that this has happened. Also, Myrwn just having a field day in this top half of the map.
Alvaro has left his AD carry down towards the bottom side. Will jump in. World Ender coming out. There's the Weaver's Wall as well from Jojo. Looking for the CC now onto Janax. Elyoya jumps in, tanks the tower. 2 shots, flashes away. And MKOI on the board.
Nicely done by MKOI. This is, again, just playing off these nice timing windows that they had with Alvaro being able to reset, get up towards his top side, Jojopyun having pushing mid, and even though it was a little funky, but Alvaro missing that grand entrance, they're still completely fine.
Yeah, just making sure you get the World Ender out there is really your job, right? If you do get the knockup, cool, but you have enough follow-up CC from the rest of MKOI that you can make sure that kill is secured. Did lose a plate, maybe 2, down towards that bottom lane. Currently reads at 4, but with the minions attacking, it might clip over to 3. And with no one having having teleport from MKOI, it made it a little bit harder for them to answer that wave. So a couple of waves and a plate down in bot was the cost of the dive up towards the top side for MKOI. Bukada here has spotted Supa. Alvaro's going to come in to try and help him out. Grand entrance dodge to the side of Bukada, not rooted up either with the Blade Caller. And overall, SK just have the first move on the Grubs.
I was just going to say, I think Supa losing that health bar is going to set them up perfectly for this, because yes, Reeker had gotten pushed in that top side as everyone on Movistar KOI come through, but Supa's still kind of held his own in mid, but Loopy now.
But the Incinerate has to flash across the wall here. Myrwn's coming across with an equalizer as well. 2 Grubs down. We'll give the feat of strength over to SK, and with MKOI only having 3 players around, I think they're going to give up the ghost of fighting this one. All 3 Grubs, Realm Warp forward. Myrwn has to flash the wall because Loopy was coming in, waiting for that stun. Didn't quite have it procced, but the Pyromania was only 1 stack away.
Yeah, it's a little messy for Movistar KOI. They didn't really need to commit, because as we said, like, Supa out of the picture. The Taliyah TP was only just about to come off a cooldown, but he was Jojo was still in range of Gen X, so that could have been interrupted. So felt like a bit of an overstay for what wasn't really going to be any sort of pickup off the back of it.
Yeah. It's one of those, hey, maybe we can fight this, and then you walk towards it, it's like, actually we couldn't fight this, and now we're out of position. So just as you say, an overstep from MKOI. SK taking what they can off the map. Have got both the first couple of neutral objectives here. No flash for Loopy, makes Supa and Alvaro a little safer in the mid lane. Alvaro still only level 5 though, only just ticked over that.
But the flash gone from Myrwn makes him way more vulnerable in the side lane.
Yep.
Because the lockdown that can be offered by Bukada just coming in with an ultimate, or even then Gen X to follow up, or Reeker being able to set up for that play, means that my eyes are now firmly on Bukada to see how he plays towards Myrwn and trying to shut down what has been a fairly good time for the Movistar KOI top laner. You can see almost a 900 gold lead for himself just off of the 1v1 against Gen X.
Yeah, he's basically all of the gold lead that MKOI have been able to generate in this early game. Gen X has to flash away here. Seismic shove wide from Jojo as Jax puts on his dancing shoes and just taps across to the side of it. There's a risk now, though, for Gen X. No flash on the Aatrox. World Ender still available to him, but Jojo's going to keep him at arm's length for the moment at least. Myrwn still has the equalizer here, with no one else in the vicinity. Doesn't even need to use it to clear out the wave. Reeker's just going to take this plate and back away.
I'm still waiting for the moment where I see the Aatrox counter pick and it blows my mind. Because I feel like so often over the last couple of weeks I've seen Aatrox been like, oh yeah, this is a good counter pick here. And then it kind of does okay or falls behind in the laning phase and then doesn't really do anything in the rest of the game. I'm like, yeah, why'd we end up here?
Well, because Rumble's been really strong for a long time.
Yeah.
And people are experimenting. Fearless draft, though, means that we only have to see the Rumble once.
True. And the Aatrox.
And the Aatrox, excellent. That's the problem with Fearless. We can't try our counter picks more often.
Oh,
that's
not
the
enough
reason.
practice. Yeah.
That's obviously the issue. For the moment, though, MKOI, although we've said there've been a couple of foibles, a couple of fails here and there, they are still about 1,000 gold in the lead. SK have set up around the Drake. There's the Tibbers into the CC. True Shot Barrage coming out, but Alvaro goes in with the quickness and procs it on all 3 members of SK. They can't escape. The collapse is rapid from MKOI. They manage now to take a bunch of damage off this mid lane tower. Gen X coming in. The Aatrox still not doing as much as he would like.
Yeah, but still managed to get the flash from Supa, but Movistar KOI set up well on the return punch. SK hoping to find some sort of pick, but now first dragon for Movistar KOI looking inevitable.
Now Reeker has to flash away here as well, just trying to fight over something that he doesn't really need to fight over. Put back into the unraveled earth. Supa gets his second of the in-game. The Infernal Chains comes out with a Grand Starfall, and that will be one in response. Gen X able to pick up the kill. Myrwn laid down the equalizer. Bukada jump forward. Aegis Assault keeps him alive for now. Elyoya still trading in. KOI coming in from the side as well as he looks to join the fight. Alvaro forced low, but Gen X forced lower. He goes back in a grave. KOI getting chased out by Myrwn. The Flame Spitter will be enough if he had Leandries, but he doesn't quite have that item complete. Elyoya looking for the win becomes lightning, has to flash as he tanks up a tower shot. And it's a little bit messy, but MKOI get out with a dragon and a 3k gold lead.
Yeah, it's definitely scrappy, and it's not exactly something that you'd be putting onto the wall.
That's scrappy. That's my worst Scooby-Doo I've ever done in my life.
I wasn't even sure what that.
I'm sorry. It just came out, you know? Sometimes it happens. I'm channeling Jake.
Is that what it was? But the fight here is like, it's very strange. So you get the pick already, like good turnaround here from Movistar KOI, right? But like on the flick back here, I'm surprised that Supa doesn't use the ultimate. He was sitting on it there for a while, so even as the Infernal Chains connect, I expected here for him to just go up with it, but doesn't end up going for it. Movistar KOI then start to run away. Then there's a few more foibles as we go into the bot lane.
Yeah, Janix is dead. Hex Drinker isn't going to shield you from the physical damage of Supa. No mystery there to be solved.
Thanks, Raggy.
Oh, can't believe I just did that, I'll be honest. It came out of nowhere.
You've been in a weird mood today.
Yeah. 7-1 the score for MKOI. They are massively in the lead. SK trying to play up towards the top side, trying to get anything they can off the map right now, but they are going to lose a bot tower for it. They'll take a blue. They'll take some plates towards that top lane. Small advantages gained wherever they can find them, but those advantages quickly being nullified by the fact that MKOI are bulldozing the rest of the map.
I think it's also just that they're always like, even here, it's a half step behind. You've lost bot tower, you will trade it for top, but it's another 30 to 40 seconds before you actually get it, which means that then Movistar KOI will be up here, they can get the next wave, but they can also start to put pressure onto like mid lane tower as they look to reset here. And it's just these kind of little things that are starting to compound. And even as we start to look towards Herald in just a couple, seconds time, Movistar KOI are just out on the map quicker again.
Yeah, just getting those resets off a little bit quicker overall. Yuntao is complete for Supa, 3 stacks away from finishing up his cull. Rod of Ages just finished for Reeker, a little bit later than he'd like it, but probably about average in terms of Rod of Ages completions. When you're looking at a speedy one, you know, 12-minute sub is really nice to get that Rod of Ages out. For now, I have to wait until we're about 25 minutes into the game. Janax caught in the side lane once again. His flash about to come off cooldown, but not quickly enough, methinks, as he's knocked up with a grand entrance. He makes a grand exit in a body bag.
Yeah, 1-4 now. The Aatrox has not been having a fun time in the side lane, and Movistar KOI been doing a good job of jumping on him, but Myrwn might be next.
Round walk forward, lands the harpoon, gets the slow on Reeker, which might keep him out of reach. Needs the overload in the Rune prison. Myrwn flashes into the Rift Herald pit, TP's out, and survives.
So that was actually really smart from Myrwn.
Yeah, that was really
underneath
quick.
the Rift Herald, so then you can't get the CC chain to keep him in place. So nice job from Myrwn to escape away from that.
Really solid from Myrwn. Still back for the fight if one does erupt. Rift Herald, the only key point of neutral objectives, but you can still play for this mid lane tower. TP coming in, there's a Weaver's Wall to separate SK into 2 distinct entities. Reeker comes in and is stuck between a wall and a very hard place. Supa with his 5th of the game.
And that's going to be another tower falling and the Rift Tower going to Movistar KOI alongside the 2 kills as well. We kind of expected it to be a bit of a one-sided affair, but
not this one-sided.
Yeah.
This is devastating for SK and delightful for MKOI. Remember, a win here locks them into our playoff spots, into that top 6. They can still battle for a slightly higher seed, really looking for that top 4 for the double elimination. They have Rogue at the end of next week to try and lock in that spot. For SK, they still have matches against G2 and Vitality. Still a way back in. I don't think they're eliminated even if they lose here. In fact, I'm pretty sure they're not. But would be obviously a trickier road to tread. You have to win out those 2 games and hope the rest of the results go in your favor, really.
Which is tough. Yeah, it will be also Rogue and BDS who are kind of looking at this game going, whoa. Because, again, if Movistar KOI end up winning here, it's those 2 teams that are eliminated. So, SK kind of hoping against hope that they can try and bring this one back just to make their life easier, maybe a couple of other teams as well.
I think it's if SK win here, Rogue and BDS are eliminated.
Yes.
Yes, you said if Movistar KOI win here, Rogue and BDS.
Oh, sorry, yes.
Yeah, so if SK win, Rogue and BDS are eliminated, whereas if MKOI win, we don't have any of those eliminations, but obviously it'll be harder for SK to make it through because they haven't picked up the win here. Rift Herald's going to charge in. Gone past 16 minutes and 49 seconds, so MKOI not setting any records here. But, they will get won't quite get a second charge with the Rift Herald as the smite comes out. There's a Drake for them, maybe their 2nd of the game, but it's an 8,000 gold lead, guys. Like, assuming they do everything cleanly from here, it should be a done deal.
But I enjoy at this point in the game where, as SK, you have to sit as a group in your base and go, okay, no, it's your turn to face check. I face checked the last time around. Now this one's on you. You're like, no, I face checked last week because no one on this team wants to touch Movistar KOI at any point in time.
Hibbers.
So
off you go.
Because Annie as a support is so useful without the tibbers.
Yeah, but you just throw tibbers at the wall over and over again and see if it sticks, you know? It's a Paddington Bear sort of situation.
This is where you wish you could like tag out and tag in Ivern. So you just like, can we swap Daisy for tibbers? And you know, we kind of...
Isn't there lore that Daisy's meant to be Annie's sister?
Something like that.
Yeah, something along those lines. Equalizer goes down onto Loopy. And Loopy, oh, the round warp. Leandries, guys, come on, come on. You think you can escape the fire, Annie? You were born in it, molded by it.
You didn't see your sister until she was a giant rock golem.
So, MKOI just dominated, guys. Like, we're joking around a little bit because this game is as good as done, right? If SK come back from this, it is a monumental throw from MKOI and incredibly good play from SK. But their whole jungle is being lost. You can see Bukata currently sitting at 127 CS. I expect that will go up to 131 and then won't really go up from there for the rest of the game.
Yeah, it's a difficult one for SK. And I think, look, a lot of people kind of expected this. Movistar KOI have felt like they were on an absolute tear. I think there was the one series against Vitality where Lindsay thought did a great job as Bukata.
Nice sidestep there from Jojo. Gonna land some more damage with that threaded volley, but can't chase Bukata any further.
But yeah, I'll hold on to this because it looks like he might get a bit of engage off Elyoya, but yeah, I think it's like that one series against Vitality where Lindsay did a good job of covering Elyoya and also then kind of upsetting the bot lane of Movistar KOI, where it felt like, okay, there seems to be some sort of formula here that you can use, but it's been very difficult for teams to replicate. And it feels like Movistar KOI now, as you say, with Jojo stepping up, Myrwn looking like an absolute beast in the top side of the map as well, that the whole team is just coming together, and now they look significantly more terrifying.
Oh, definitely agree with you. I think that team cohesion is the watchword for Spring. For MKOI, they really seem to have found their footing as a cohesive unit, and part of that, I mean, we can praise everyone on the team. I think Alvaro and Elyoya have actually worked out a really good system together as well to get Vision in and to work together through the early game. Asuka about to spawn.
The 0-0-10 jungler and the 0-0-11 support are working well together.
I mean, I'd say they've done pretty good. Pretty good overall. Aatrox has spawned. SK trying to play down towards this bottom side. Myrwn pushing in, but does have the teleport. He wants to make his way down here. Jojo's going to answer the wave that is beginning to crash on that bot lane tier 1. The gold lead extends to about 9,000 or so. And SK are doing what they have to try and do, which is deny some vision and set up a bush, right? Just see if Jojo oversteps, see if someone from MKOI doesn't respect the fact you can't see the enemies on the map and just oversteps. But Jojo's not doing that, right? Like,
well, now.
Oh, here he goes. Checks the wrong bush. Seismic shove. He misses, gets hit with the tibbers, the chase is on. TP coming out, but the rest of MKOI are beginning to collapse, and SK are about to find themselves in a 4v5. Reeker tries to get the realm warp out, but can't get back in before the quickness locks him down. Genex on the wrong side of the wall now. Will get a shutdown onto Jojopyun. Equalizer onto the backline. Bukata caught first. The quickness coming out as well, as Kadui is locked up, and Elyoya will chase him down. Crescent Guard, more for the damage than anything else. It's an ace for one for MKOI.
SK got their man. It's just unfortunate they had to lose everything for us. And now Movistar KOI, with Myrwn pushing in this bottom side, should be able to crack the base for themselves. A good turnaround from Movistar KOI. I respected SK, but there's just not much you can do here.
Yeah, it's so difficult for them. You can see how quickly they're trying to collapse. They have the Grand Starfall coming in, Genex teleporting in as well, but you just don't have the damage. You just can't work your way through this MKOI lineup quickly enough. And there will be Aatrox. It will be jungle camps stolen away as well. I will say Bukata got 7 extra CS after I said he wasn't going to get any more for the rest of the game, so good job to him. His topside jungle is available, so he's probably going to crest, 144. So next up, though, we have a Drake in 50 seconds. Jojo has his teleport, so he can push out top and then TP down towards this dragon if needed.
I'm just going to have a quick look at the replays. You can see, look, Loopy gets the ultimate down and sets up, but Reeker just can't get through the Serap's Embrace that Jojopyun has, and then the follow-up is there. And honestly, it's only really Jojopyun overextending that lets Genex come back through here as he tries to get the wall down.
Oh, Kadui's been caught out. Will try an arcane shift across the wall, but won't get there in time. He's dead. Myrwn's on a rampage. Only 2 players on MKOI have died in this entire game. Jojo and Supa letting the team down a smidge. Just a smidge.
I thought you were going to say like massively or significantly, and I was like,
No,
yeah, they should be reported.
Every now and
Terrible.
again, I'll say something that is obviously a joke, and then I'll get angry fans in my DMs telling me that,
See,
I can't believe you flame a team like that,
I think
you know?
everyone just assumes what I say is a joke at all points in time, so I don't have to worry about it.
Wow, okay. You do have that, like, infectious laugh, you know?
It's why I giggle profusely to cover it all.
Laugh to hide the pain, Rob. Laugh to hide the pain. SK maybe looking for a few chuckles themselves right now because they're 12,000 gold behind. They just lost the third dragon of the game to MKOI. You have 3 lanes that MKOI can play through. No real wave in mid, so they're going to have to wait for that one. But you can see Jojo's already up at the top side. The last remaining tier 2 stands up there.
I do think, though, again, this is like good showman of what MKOI are trying to achieve. Like this patience, this kind of like, hey, we're not really overextending. Now they're about to pull the trigger, but it's like, you know, so even there, they're not really, they're just forcing SK back.
Yeah.
And I think this is where that growth from Movistar KOI has really impressed me. And why, like, I actually really enjoy watching this team now is because I always, like, there is a very much of understanding of how we should be positioned on the map, how we're setting up our vision, how deep can we actually go on a play before it actually is just us throwing the game away. And there was always kind of that, like, okay, MKOI have a lead last year, but are they going to be able to hold on to it, right? Yeah. But this year, it feels like MKOI have a lead. Okay, this game is over. Yeah. And I think that's kind of like the growth and what I've really enjoyed about watching MKOI this season.
100% agree with you. I think it's important to clarify in this series at least, they're playing up against SK. They're doing everything right, but the caliber of opposition isn't a Fnatic or a G2 or a Carmine.
They just come
right?
off the back of
they
doing
have,
it against
exactly,
Fnatic,
right?
right?
And
So,
that's the thing. This has been consistency over a couple of weeks now, at least for MKOI. Loopy goes in, great flash from Jojo. Realm Warp coming out as well, but that's the weave as well from Jojo to get himself to safety. The collapse beginning for Movistar KOI as Elyoya works his way around the bend. The quickness out. And there's the lockup onto Bukada. Loopy falls first, Bukada follows suit. The TP out from Reeker towards the top side, abandoning his comrades in arms. As MKOI will get another couple of kills, Baron up in 4.
Reeker would never abandon. He just wanted to get the win.
Oh, true, yeah.
You know, he had to push it off, so then they couldn't go. Yeah, it was to cover the... See, because now he's disrupted the push that Jojo could have gone for here on the top side.
By taking 2 minions of that wave?
Yes.
It worked.
Do I have to elaborate now that that was a joke? Or how does it
No, I think we're good. Okay. I think we're good. Great flash away from Jojo and by Myrwn.
By both, I was going to say, yeah. And then even here, Jojo repositioned himself, but the ultimate was great. And the interrupt from Alvaro here as well, because Bukada was like, oh my god, I need to peace out, but there was just no hope. And at least it's Reeker who ends up escaping away, but it is these constant Hail Mary plays you kind of have to make as SK, because otherwise you're just going to die out slowly. So respect them for at least trying.
Oh yeah, and when MKOI are playing like this, when they are playing with that patience, with that deliberateness, is that a word? I feel like it probably is. Deliberance? No. Sounds too much like Severance. With the deliberiosity of these last few moments, you don't get the windows you usually would, right, against a team. You can't just expect them to take a fight and it's like, oh, we'll outplay them in the fight. Because MKOI aren't taking any fights. Yeah. They're just suffocating you out of the game. Like, Bukada has got like 10 CS in the last 5 minutes of the game.
He's got 2 caps.
Yeah, exactly. They've just been suffocated. So SK are doing everything they can, trying to find gold wherever they can on the map. They'll take the bot lane tier 1, but MKOI take an inhibitor in response. The next wave in mid, probably about 20 seconds away from crashing in here. So they have a little bit of time to wait, maybe less than that, maybe 10, as it will start to push in. MKOI only playing on 2 waves in total right now, top and mid. Bot wave a mile away from them. There's the Weaver's Wall to separate out the team. KOI almost on the wrong side of the wall with the quickness coming out from Alvaro. He flashes forward into the equalizer. Loopy looking for the stun with the tibbers as well, but it's only going to land onto Elyoya. SK are able to retreat for now, but the chase continues from MKOI. Good seismic shove onto KOI, but he begins to open up. Mystic shots hitting KOI with the barrier, able to survive for now. The inhibitor will go down. MKOI likely to back away.
I mean, they got what they wanted. The inhibitors are gone. It was a good ultimate from Jojo to separate SK as well, so there isn't really any ability to fight back. Now with a soul in 50 seconds, you have options. It's just go and push in bottom side. You can commit to the play if SK ever overextend. If they don't, great, just fall back and get the soul for yourself. But you see here, nearly able to catch Kadui. Good arcane shift away, but then flashing forward to get Loopy and Reeker really set up then for the follow plays to come through. And Elyoya a little bit late on the ultimate just because of the CC chain, but it was enough from Movistar KOI to be able to push them back and set themselves up for the inhibitor.
Yeah, They take 2 inhibs, as you say. Drake, their next objective, 20 seconds on that. All 5 of them on roughly the bottom 50% of the map. You can see SK just trying to get pushing out in any waves they can. They know there are super minions on their way. They want as much time as possible defending this tower before they have to deal with the super minions. That's why Myrwn's in mid, because he wants to accelerate that process by pushing out that mid wave and forcing SK to have to play on 2 lanes at once.
SK are also desperately trying to get Reeker up towards his items. Couldn't quite get the Zhonya's Arrow's glass, but at least has most of it.
Oh, stun onto Alvaro. Will dash away just in time to escape the tower shots. True shot barrage comes through and Alvaro goes down. SK get their 3rd on the board in almost 30 minutes. And they delay the push out of MKOI.
But they didn't really have to use anything either. Loopy still has his flash, still has that ultimate up and available as well. So MKOI have to be a little careful as they try and move forward towards this, but letting the creeps do the work at the moment.
Yeah, you can see they're being very careful by just standing next to the cannon and saying, we can take a little bit of poke to make sure this inhibitor tower goes down. The Drake up for them will be Cloud's soul for MKOI if they can secure it, and secure it they should. Looks like Myrwn and Jojo are just fishing, seeing if anyone steps into the treacherous waters of their own blue side, but no one from SK will, so MKOI will just take the Cloud Soul. And when Alvaro respawns, expect them all to reset and then push in with these super minions. Still haven't taken the inhibitor on the bot side, importantly. Looks like they don't even need to reset, haven't got that much gold since the last one. Loopy looking for a flash across the wall here, but Jojo hovering the right side. Makes it easier for him to stay safe. Weaver's wall out. KOI flashes over, and now he is a long way away from his base. 8 seconds before he'll be able to get back. Myrwn might try and keep him around. KOI instead decides to reset his base, and now Myrwn's just gonna burn him down. No barrier, no flash, no life left for KOI. He will fall. 20 kills to 3 now for MKOI.
Yeah, I appreciate the attempt, but the target selection isn't there. You can see right there, super immediate cleanse as Loopy tries to go on him.
Yeah, Grand Starfall coming out as well from Bukada. Aegis assaults backwards, knowing that's where all of MKOI are. Equalized down as well as Genex tries to survive through this, but just can't. Super flashing forward, pops the Featherstorm at the end, looking for the Quadra and will not claim it. Myrwn takes it. MKOI demolish SK in game 1.
That was clean from MKOI. There just didn't really seem like a chance. There was a couple of fumbles here and there, like in team fights or mechanically, but when it came to map play, when it came to early control, it was Movistar KOI all the way.
Yeah, just crazy performance from MKOI overall. We're going to go do a short break. We'll be right back after this.